All rise. I am your Honorable Judge Gene Clemons here presiding with the first episode of Judge Gene. Thank you to The Athletic. If you followed me and my Judge Gene column on The Athletic, this is just an extension of that. We get an opportunity to look at some of the cases that we were not able to adjudicate on the column, and we do it right here. As always, everything is pertinent and everything is dependent upon whether or not your league is trying to make money or you're just playing for fun. So any ruling that I come up with is final, and if you have something to say about it, you know what to do. Hit me up. So let's get to the first case. This is from Ben D. He says, should you have a trade deadline in Dynasty? That's a great question. And my issue is, if it's Dynasty, that means that it's going to continue year after year after year. So what is the purpose of the trade deadline, right? What is the purpose of the trade deadline? It is so that teams don't dump players to other good teams because their season is over and that other team is fighting for a championship. But here's the problem. It's Dynasty. So I might want to dump my team this year so that I can make a run at a championship level team next year. But I can't. You know why? Because there's a trade deadline. So here's what I say. I think that there should be a trade deadline. Yes. But if we're being honest about it, the trade deadline should be when the playoffs begin. So you should be able to trade until your heart's desire right up until the playoffs begin. Why? Because now with an extra week of football, we most likely have an extra week of playoffs. If we don't have an extra week of playoffs, it's been pushed back. So allow those teams that are trying to rebuild for next year to continue to rebuild for next year, and allow those teams that think that they are maybe one player away from winning a championship, make their run. And if they choose wrong, guess what they're not going to have? They're not going to have good draft capital for next year. But if they choose right, they get a chance to win a championship, and guess what they're not going to have next year? Draft capital. So either way, those people are going to have to do something different the next year, right? They're going to get penalized for taking the opportunity to win a championship that year. And if they don't win at all, now they're left stuck. That's my ruling. I'm sticking to it. Next case. This is from Chris M. It says, our first league crisis recently occurred. This is a standard PPR league. 4 teams make the playoffs. Bottom 2 battle for last place. We are in a debate whether a team that has clinched playoffs is able to bench some players to potentially lead to an easier playoff opponent. Interested to see how people handle this. Another great question, and thank you, Chris M. Here's what I would say. The point is to make the playoffs and win the game, right? So, if you're in a league that's supposed to be fun, this is just for fun, everyone has fun, that's Bush League, right? If you're doing that in a league that's supposed to be fun, that's Bush League. But if you are playing in a league where you are playing for some type of gain, whether that is monetary or, some type of physical punishment, whatever it might be, if that has some type of windfall and or some type of detractor at the end or thing that you're going to be embarrassed about, then you do whatever you have to do in order to win. This is not a democracy where, democracy is the wrong word. This is not a situation where we're looking at it and going, oh, that's not in the spirit of the game. Well, the spirit of the game is to win. And I'm telling you, if I'm playing in a big money league and I know that losing a game will put me into better position to be able to win in the playoffs, I'm doing it. It may not be sexy, people may not like it, but at the end of the day, if I'm holding up the trophy and I'm cashing the check, that's what I'm doing. And so I am going to rule in favor of people who want to bench their players in order to win in order to set themselves up for a better fantasy position in the playoffs. Now, for our last one of the day, it says, okay, this is from Chris C, by the way. Lots of Chris's that are, have membership to the Athletic. Lots of Chris's. A very normal, very, very, very common name, and we get a lot of Chris's. I appreciate all you Chris's out there. Y'all are the bomb. And by the way, you know what I also appreciate? I appreciate Say Less Sports Tees. If you don't know Say Less Sports Tees, that is the place that holds us down. If you have team needs, if you have apparel needs, you want to holler at Say Less Sports Tees, go to their website at saylessports.com and check them out. I also want to give a great shout out to Cycle Bar Midtown Savannah. I live in Savannah, and when I'm trying to make sure I stay heart healthy, guess what I do? I go to Cycle Bar Midtown Savannah, right there on Abercorn. If you are in the Savannah area, if you're coming to Savannah because you're coming to work out, or you're coming to have a bachelorette party, if you're coming just to have a weekend away, get you a workout in and go on over to Abercorn, Cycle Bar Midtown Savannah. You should follow them on Instagram at Cycle Bar Midtown Savannah. Now let's get to this last one by Chris C. It says, okay, 12-team league, 6 make playoffs. First place likely to lose to last place, knocking him out of a first place bye. Last place benches Monday night starter ETN at last minute, preventing the upset, leaving starting spot open. Should I, as commissioner and possibly a beneficiary of first place's loss, reinstate last place starters? This is an easy one to me. No, you shouldn't do that. That is a genius move by the last place person, because the last place knows if I bench these people, he's going to lose. Look, at the end of the day, the strategy is the strategy. You don't put yourself in that position and you don't have to worry about it, right? If you don't put yourself in that position, then you don't have to worry about it. If this is a money league, or if this is a league with stakes, right? If this is a league with stakes, then you need to always be thinking about the stakes when you make moves, right? And if the shoe is on the other foot on one day with the last place team, then guess what? They're going to have to suffer the consequences as well. But you don't want to, as a commissioner, all of a sudden start swinging around your power to change and transform and reconfigure things just because you think that that's right. Everybody came into this league with their eyes open. They knew that this was a possibility. Is this in the spirit of the rule? Absolutely not. But is this great strategy from somebody that's trying to get the job done? Absolutely. So in this case, I rule that you are not allowed to change and put that player back in, because that would be against what your power should be as a commissioner. If you do that, then it makes me start to question, what else are you willing to go in and change? Leave it alone. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all the time I have. We'll be back tomorrow with another episode of Judge Gene. Do me a favor, if you like this, leave a comment, like, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hey, and if you haven't already, go and subscribe to The Athletic, because that Judge Gene column will be back next year for football season. If you have questions that you want answered, like this week, like, post them, leave them on my YouTube channel, leave them in the comments, put them on my social media at Gene Clemons, leave it in the comments. I'd love to hear from you, and I'd love to be able to get some of your stuff live on air right now. Until next time, this court is adjourned.